statistically right now. Can it lead to more success?
There it is, from Napew to Pew Pew. But which map are we going to be playing on in this series? Again, best of one with overtime. And we're going to tell what it is. Our lobby is close to being ready, so we're going to clean things up here. Clubhouse banned by Giants. Xavier out, removing Villa, and Cafe Dostoevsky is where we're going to go again. This is flashbacks to the first day that Cafe was added with EU back in the old Pro League system. Cafe, what does this say on behalf of Xavier? The right decision? Because Giants, I mean, they're a good team. You give them a Monty and a map that has like small hallways, they usually can pull it off.
I mean, Fluke brought it up before. She said how Giants had managed to beat Xavier on this map before, but it was a super close matchup. You said 7-5. My stats say 7-5 here as well. It looks for the most part that Xavier had a really good split on both halves. They were actually doing quite well on attack and defense, even though they did lose. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, Giants, they had a close matchup with Xavier as is expected on a map. Xavier looks back and goes, actually, we could probably take them on this. We look back at what they did and we just counter it, or we just play our own play style 110%.
I think that's it. It's one of those situations. We've seen it before. Let's see it again. Let's see what lessons have been learned. And Giants, let's see a bit of energy from you today.
I mean, look, last time it was very close between the two. I expect it to be the same way again, specifically on this map. I wonder what operators we're going to have for it. Our game's almost ready here. Final questions, though. Oh, it is ready. All right, you know what? No questions, Emir. We're going to toss it over. Faluk, thank you so much for the information. No, I'm not going to take them anymore. Let's take them over to our casters. Please take it away, Devin Geo, for our second game.
Thanks, Milosh, and I guess no analysts. Didn't want to be a part of that at the end. Dev, how are you feeling about this game? This is going to be a pretty big one given how good Xavier have looked, particularly in their most recent game, and the Giants, having suffered a loss in their last game, may be about to lose their throne.
Oh, this is such a revenge match. It's Giants, the best team in APAC for such a long time, coming up against the team who knows how to beat them. It is Xavier, red hot, as you said, off a 7-0, 7-1, and a loss to Norengo, but 7-1. Like, out of the most recent 4 games from Xavier, they dropped only 2 rounds across 3 of them. That is ridiculous. These guys are coming in with red hot form. My concern is Cafe is definitely a map I would favor for Giants. They beat Cyclops on this map. We just saw how good Cyclops are here on Cafe. And if you go even further back, Giants beat Xavier on Cafe during the major. So this is definitely a good map for Giants. And Xavier, on the flip side, they even lost this in their nationals to a team called Veto Esports, which is kind of a surprise. Typically, we don't expect these North League teams to be dropping many games in their nationals, and that was a convincing 7-4 against them. So I definitely will favor Giants in this match. That said, Xavier, they need to come out strong with some aggression. The Nomad ban will definitely enable that and give their defenders a little bit more freedom. And I think if they can just keep running around doing what they do best and throw off the comms from Giants, this could definitely swing Xavier's way.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw what happened in the last game, and if you did miss the game that Xavier played against Fav Gaming, first of all, after this, go back and watch it because it was hilarious. But secondly, as they alluded to on the desk, Napew popped the hell off, and a lot of that was because of his unabashed flanking that he was going for.
Yeah, and the Nomad ban definitely going to help facilitate that. It's the same ban we saw from Xavier in that game against Fav. Giants will have to be extra cautious that they are always watching flanks. They're probably going to come in and I think maybe play this game a little scared, but fortunately for Giants, they start on that defense. That gives them a little bit of safety here as, well, Xavier on the attack. They're the ones who have to make the first move in all of these rounds, and they can't kind of just lurk around and look for opportunities to disrupt Giants' attack. They're the ones who have to make the first move. That said, Thatcher is in, Ace is in. There's a lot of breach potential here, hard breach potential on the cards, and Giants are going to try and play a strategy that leans into these shields. We've got the Goyo, a very common pick here on Cafe. That on top of the shield from Valkyrie and Jordan on the smoke means Giants have 4 total. Now, with no Wamai, thanks to Xavier banning it, it'll be a little bit more difficult to protect those shields. And Xavier do have a decent amount of utility to flood it out, but if you look at the stun grenades, which is usually what we would see to waste these ADSs, only 3 on Onigiri. And yeah, we've got 2 breaching rounds from the Ash, 2 explosives from the Zephyr to then destroy those shields. I think they're really going to have to make sure they use these EMPs from the Thatcher well to disable those ADSs and time that with those explosives to destroy these shields.
Yeah, you said that they're going to be the ones who have to move forward as they're starting off on the attack, and you're a bit concerned, evidently, about some of the lineup they've maybe bought. I was just having a look to see how Xavier have historically fared, particularly attacking onto this site in Bar Cocktail. It's not one of their stronger sites when it comes to attack, actually. They've lost it more times than they've won it. It's a 3-2 split, so not a huge sample size, but still one that's enough when compared to some of the others. It doesn't look quite as strong. So it'll be certainly something to see how that works out. You can see DCH on the rappel, just looking out for some of those gadgets that might be able to provide to the team. There's an early C4, and Napew, that huge threat on the side of Xavier, is quickly gotten rid of.
I love that. I don't know whether that C4 was actually on the hatch, just waiting for the sound of a breach charge to be deployed. I think that was the case, because Napew did definitely run those breaching charges. And, well, that's 2 of your explosives and 2 of your concussions taken out of the game early, not to mention Napew, the gunner himself. That leaves Xavier with only the 2 breaching rounds from the Ash and potentially some Selmas from Ace to destroy these 4 deployable shields Giants have brought to the table. I think this is going to be very difficult for Xavier to dispatch with all of these shields.
That might be a problem. Already half the round is down. And typically you have to spend a significant amount of time removing those kinds of things, especially on a map like Cafe, where there is a methodical way to move through the map. Onigiri might find that he runs into Hysterix's path, or one way or the other. Hysterix late places the shield. Well, you know, it's protection in it.
Well, I'm glad that Xavier, well, Giants, I mean, rather, use protection here in reading. Onigiri gonna need to flush that out. He's got a drone to check out the situation. Really unusual shield placement. Oh, that's a great vertical hole there. Red Sun does take down Ysera, but that vertical swings the way of Jordan. Speakeasy as well takes down DCH, and Xavier looking for a desperate push up the white stairs, but there's nothing to stop Red Sun from just pushing on up here except the player on the top side. Nice shot there, shuts down Hysterix. 2v3, this is possible here for Xavier.
It could be. They still have to push forward, and there are shields in the way. They know there's a player in Washroom. They can't get rid of him. That's Scatman. Finally, he goes down as Red Sun continues to push towards into Freezer. Now, bear in mind, there's a Vulcan shield in his way. He's going to be coming out the other way. Throws down the EMP to remove what could be behind, and there's the shield that's been removed. He doesn't catch the last kill, though. Luna gets that for himself, and Giants kick off the map.
A good one from Giants, and I think it really started with that falling flat on the face from Xavier. Napew C4'd up rather, through the hatch. I think that really started things on Giants' terms, and it depleted some of Xavier's utility. We saw that they decided to kind of not so much emphasize that main piano take, as after Giants found that initial kill, they played quite passive. They know that they have the utility advantage. They don't have to try and extend their map control too much, just play behind those power positions, and Xavier will have trouble flushing them out. As a result, Xavier decided not to attack those anchor positions such as Pixel and Cocktail head on. They tried to, I guess, poke and prod from different directions. Particularly, I'm thinking of Onigiri downstairs, trying to find Hysterix, or at least someone on the vertical angles. He just lost to that vertical shot from Jordan. And by that point, it was really just Xavier getting more and more desperate. Giants, an easy closeout. Now, they'll move over to Reading as their secondary bomb site. I really like Reading. I think it's, in some ways, the best bomb site on this map, which is probably a strange thing to hear if you are not used to watching, rather, a lot of pro play. This is the less favored bomb site in ranked, but I think it's better than Kitchen. I even think it's better than Bar. And well, Giants are going to emphasize this top floor control. I like that. Good information gathering. But Red Sun might be able to get a drone on site. Not quite sure. I think he did. We'll see if this bomb peak can net anything for Luna.
Not quite anything. There's one player who's not too far away, but he's going to have to concede eventually. Jordan's around and about for support as well, should Xavier decide to go in for a clear through that part of the map. Also, you have to bear in mind that most attacking teams will do a full vertical clear, and they'll move over towards Cocktail, play vertically. And so if you do have players in mining and in train, particularly if they're carrying something like a C4, then that's another vertical threat you have to bear in mind.
And it does look like Xavier's going for this top-down take. This is the standard. I think it's the right decision as well. But not only have they got to deal with the anchors in Cocktail, but they've also got to be cautious of C4s through the floor. The ECH is going to be pivotal here in spotting out those black eye cameras from Valkyrie and making sure that Giants don't have the information they require to C4 up these players pushing through bar. Napew, he's survived longer than he did last round, 30 seconds longer thus far. He's the man on the front line upstairs.
Certainly a good start. Luna, he will have been spotted then. The drone was straight in his face, and of course they'll see that there is that hole that's been opened up by him. Onigiri's trying to jump up through it to see what he can find. Regardless, they are aware that there is at least one player in there. I don't know if Jordan has been spotted out, but he's going to back off anyway as Xavier start to commit utility and attention to that part of the map. Now, Jordan still has this upstairs hole, but it's going to be Napew who gets the next shot. That's onto Ysera, and that means that Xavier have secured themselves an opening kill, which is slightly different to what we saw in the last round.
Bit of revenge too. It was Ysera who found that C4 through the hatch last round. Numbers advantage is good here for Xavier. They just about got this cocktail control. There you go, Napew upstairs, but vulnerable to the C4s, takes a lick of damage, but survives. That's critical there. And now Giants are going to continue contesting through the floor. Great decision there from Jordan, as he'd already lit up that player and just polished him off. Onigiri, though, in train, looking to push into the bomb site. It'll be very exposed once he moves in. Does find that kill, though. 35 seconds, and Xavier regained that man advantage.
Only 3 players standing for Giants. They didn't manage to deal with Jordan before. He's probably still down on the side, but Scatman's going to jump down so he can place the Selmas. That's Red Sun dispatched with, and that means that there isn't that same amount of support. Another kill coming in for Giants. And Xavier are still trying to come around from other angles. You've got DCH upstairs, Scatman heading in through the site. They want to see if they can catch any of these players out, but there's fewer than 10 seconds remaining. Eventually, Scatman's going to have to go in for the plant. That's what he does, but he's getting shot in through the wall. There's the smoke. But Luna still survives as Jordan just cleans up at the end. And Giants take a second round.
A great showing from Jordan here, not only on the bomb site to clean up the last 2 kills, but also making sure that Napew was ineffective upstairs. A C4 in tandem with some shots through the floor finished off that Zephyr, and that meant that there wasn't really any vertical pressure coming down. The reason, well, there are 2 main reasons why an attacking team would take the top floor control when attacking reading. First is so that they're not vulnerable to being shot through the floor by the defenders upstairs when they try and push into the bomb site and get that plant down. Secondly, it's so that once the attackers have top floor control, they can use that vertical pressure to then attack the players downstairs and get defenders, flush out the defenders from those anchor positions. Now, that was Napew's job, but of course, he lost his life to Jordan. So that's why Jordan's play was so critical there. Xavier really had no control and no pressure onto the bomb site from that point forth. So credit to him. Also credit to Luna on that late flank up the brown stairs. Took down 1 kill and then managed to escape with his life and flank at the end through reading. A good 3 versus 4 for Giants turned it into a 3 versus nothing. Now we'll see their kitchen defense.
Yeah, it's also not common that you see an attacking team try to make the plant in dining as opposed to reading. You could tell that by that point, Xavier, it's really run out of time and just kind of going for what they could. As you say, we're on to a different bomb site now. It's a new chance, it's a new dawn, it's a new day. I don't know if Xavier are feeling good yet, though, because they're... that is not the song that I was referencing, but you do you, boo.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, a new bomb site for
I didn't realize I cast it with Nina Simone. This is a nice black eye either way. It's going to give Giants a decent amount of information if they want to try and get one of those early picks, as they've gone for spawn peaks, what, twice in a row now?
Yep, yeah, I mean, one of them worked, one of them didn't, but that's okay. I like those odds. They didn't lose the player spawn peeking in round 2. Unusual setup for Giants. Not many people bring the mirror on this kitchen bomb site. I really like it. In particular, the mirror in prep where Speakeasy is playing. You can't destroy that from above. Of course, he will be vulnerable once Bakery is taken, but he's trying to just delay this as long as possible. He's a smoke as well. There's holes above. That would expose his position, but of course, Giants still have pressure upstairs. And Xavier going to use the ace to flush off that mirror. There's no wall denial coming out from Giants. And of course, the Thatcher is there, so it would have negated any wall denial that was. Anyhow, so I like that. Good job from Xavier to pretty effectively and quickly clear out that position.
Yeah, that's really early prep control that's been taken, and when you want to... mirror windows are limited resources, and if you lose the ability to use one fairly early, then that's definitely a win for the attackers, but that's not...
Right.
Another C4 kills. Hysterics still holds on to the top floor, and that went sailing straight downstairs. DCH a bit like a lost puppy now, as he's lost his owner.
Oh.
He catches the black eye.
Too little too late there, though, for the IQ. I mean, that was the IQ's job, making sure that that information was not there for Giants, and DCH failed that. Red Sun lost his life for it. Great job there from Hysterics, a long C4 out the piano windows, but now Xavier turning their attention to the bomb site. DCH has lost his life, Napier as well. Everything is falling out of Xavier's hands, and Impact Trick does prevent this rotate hole, this breach on the bakery wall into kitchen from being a crouchable breach. And they'll have to vault over that. That makes it really awkward to peek in for Scatman, and Giants very comfortable in a 5 versus 2. A 5 versus 1 now. Onigiri, just about no chance.
Xavier beginning to regret the fact they didn't do a thorough clear. There's a narrow miss for Onigiri, but that one's not. Ysira, who didn't really get pressured at all where he was up in Whiskey, takes the kill as he pushes down from coat check. At no point in this game so far have Xavier looked like they've held control.
Very, very nice. Can I just say, Happy now in our chat has said, in regards to the Feeling Good song, wasn't that Michael Bublé?
Oh, wow.
That is actually
oh my
atrocious.
Goodness.
And you should be disappointed in yourself.
Nina Simone, and then Muse did a cover of it, and then Michael Bublé did in like the late 2000s or early 2010s, something like that. And that was like the teenage girl version.
I mean, that explains why Hapner, is it?
Well, exactly.
Well, turning our attention
Good
back
Lord,
to the match at hand. Xavier are really struggling right now. Giants have made a full rotation of 3 bomb sites and looking quite unchallenged. In particular, that last round just there was so good, and I think you hit the nail on the head, Gio. Xavier decided not to go for a map clear. I think that was to their demise. They let Hysterics just roam free upstairs, absolutely no pressure on him whatsoever. He was just like, all right, fish in a barrel, I'm going to throw down my explosive C4 and see what I can catch with it. He got a Thatcher. And it didn't get much better from then on. Despite Xavier clearing out prep and that mirror window really early on, it was just not enough. Now, I'm definitely looking at this Valkyrie as an instrumental part of Giants' attacks, in particular, all the outside Black Eye cams that have enabled plays for Giants. Xavier, in particular DCH, a player that I know Dez used to, sim for a lot, really needs to step up. I think he did just... Oh yeah, well, that's true. I think DCH really needs to step up, but I think he did just find that black eye. If not, he's looking for it. So really focusing on that, and I think that's the right decision.
I mean, that's good. What kind of stands out to me is the back in stage 1. I feel like DCH was the Blackbeard guy. And now Onigiri is the one playing Blackbeard, because I was just thinking that in the last round, and they've decided to bring it out this time, except... It's going to be Onigiri. I thought he very narrowly got that shot, but nope. Instead, he loses his shield. Doesn't quite get anything.
Yeah, it's effectively half of Blackbeard's quote-unquote utility gone. He's meant to be this player that could just peek windows and win fights, but he's already lost essentially 1 life, and he's not quite a cat. He's only got 2 of them, not the full 9. We're pulling up to the roof now. Napew's been a bit hit and miss so far this game, and once again, I'm going to point out that Xavier, they're actually even more short on explosive utility than they were in the past. They were only bringing 4 explosives in Napier on the Zephyr and Onigiri on the Ashe. Now they're only bringing 2 in Zephyr. Yes, you could potentially use some Selmas to clear shields, but I just don't expect that's going to happen.
They could always blow up in Giant's face, because the scoreline so far isn't looking that great. That's pretty explosive. I mean, look, I'm making fun of them because Xavier have been doing so well recently, and you can tell that they're playing more cautious than what we've seen of late. Napier's gonna impact himself out, stun himself out, it certainly looked like, but at least he managed to get rid of shield, but one still stands in washroom, and there's Ysera. He gets the kill onto Onigiri. And once again, Xavier find themselves at the disadvantage, especially now the Red Sun's bleeding out.
And there, once again, the vertical angle punishes. This time, Napier, once again, that's the second time he has died to those holes. And what is this flank from Hysterics? How is he allowed to make that happen? Gets on the cams. What is that mess we just witnessed? A 2 versus 2 as the dust settles on this round. But Xavier have left the diffuser on the roof. Both players already in the building. There is absolutely no time to go and retrieve it. They have to go for kills.
I need to get the words out of my mouth. Now they've got to go hunting. 15 seconds left. Jordan is safe in freezer. He gets the first kill onto Red Sun. DCH is going to completely swing in onto him, and now it's a 1 versus 1. He can't find Ysera though. He doesn't know where he is, but he's further down White Stairs. He's looking for him, but he's down in VIP now. Giants take the round as DCH desperately hunts.
Ysera's been a highlight player this game. He's found 2 out of opening kills thus far. Yes, he was the victim of the opening kill in the second round, but it's interesting. Ysera typically is that kind of hard support player, mainly on attack for Giants. But on defense, he plays aggressive. He goes for cheeky C4s. He takes down a Blackbeard. Didn't quite see how that happened, but I mean, the operator that Xavier brings to win gunfights, losing a gunfight to the support player, it's not even like we're talking about Hysterics here, who's notorious for those big plays. It's just that good old reliable support player. So I really like that from Giants. Shows that every player here is comfortable just about in any role. And I mean, that's the story of Giants. This is such a versatile team. One of the things I love about them, I think I spoke about this on the broadcast last week, but I was talking to Luna Metal, Luna from Giants, and he was saying the team was having a talk about what is their playstyle, what is their identity as a team. They're not like super creative and aggressive like Xavier. They're not super aggressive like Cyclops. They're not really like, it's not all about the team chemistry like Fnatic is. What is the Giants' identity? They just do whatever they think they need to do to win. Whether that means playing passive, playing aggressive, whatever playstyle it is, Giants will adopt it to win, and that's what I think makes them so good.
Yeah, you get a lot of teams who say, look, we just know that we play at our best when we don't try and fit to our opponent's playstyle and we stick to our own. It's almost as if Giants are the opposite. They play at their best when they're specifically countering what they know are the strengths of their opponents. And actually, one thing I wanted to mention is, I think part of the reason that we're seeing Xavier struggling right now is this doesn't necessarily play to their own strengths. When you look at the map history between these two teams, Xavier beat Giants 7-1 on Coastline. Coastline, that's a gunner map. That's not a here are all the points we have to follow and methodically play. And yeah, you could argue they of course beat Fav on Clubhouse last Playday, but a lot of that was down to Fav's problems more so than it was Xavier being particularly exceptional. Don't get me wrong, they played great, but Fav really did feed it into them. So maybe we'll see a different story on defense, but right now this isn't playing into Xavier's hands.
I feel like Xavier definitely could have predicted this map veto phase, because they just did their same old Cons Villa theme, which they did last week against Fav as well. And Giants didn't really do anything that out of the ordinary. They banned Oregon and Coastline, which are pretty standard, especially like you said against Xavier. But they left Cafe in. I feel like Xavier should have expected this and prepared. They don't look prepared whatsoever. Jordan ready to take down that hard breach player, and diffuser down. Jordan, he flicks onto another. Red Sun disconnects, leaving Xavier with just 2 players left. and Lunametal ready to receive.
The worst moment for that to have happened for Xavier. Giants still retain so much control. And last time Xavier attacked onto this site, they didn't play it as thoroughly as they could have. They were forced to try and make a plant in dining with just 2 players remaining, but neither Onigiri nor DCH are holding onto the diffuser. That's elsewhere, so they can't even attempt to do something like that. Instead, you just have them creeping around, trying not to make too much noise, but trying to get the kills they need. DCH can't do it. Onigiri once again left on his own. He has to try and peek round. He sees the gunfire. He knows that he could be being flanked as well. That's exactly what it looks like is happening, but Isira is not far away. He manages to land the kill. But you've got to bear in mind that Hysterics is on your flank. And there it is. They don't need the C4 in the end, as Giants make it a 5-0.
These rounds have been so fast for both these teams. We're going to go to a real quick rehost while we grab Red Sun by the scruff of his neck and stuff him back in that server. But I don't think it's going to be long before he's back out of the server. Giants are just 2 rounds away from closing this map in a dominant fashion, quite the reverse of what we saw from Xavier on this map against Electrify just 2 playdays ago, where they defeated them 7-1, made them look like silly people. And, well, I was going to use a different word, but I decided to be PG for the broadcast. Yeah. Giants 100% in control, like whether it's 1v1 gunfights, whether it's cheeky plays, cheeky flanks, strategy, overall bringing the shields where Xavier don't have enough explosives to deal with them. It's just never for a minute have Xavier looked like they were going to take a round.
I mean, at this point in the season, all the stuff that's happening this year, I have learned, don't write anything off too much before you get to the side switch. However, because of how well Giants seem to understand the way that Xavier play, I'm not all that convinced that even when Xavier go over to the defense, they'll be able to make much of a difference. Because let's say they do want to try and play these huge flanks that they did on Clubhouse, they banned out the Nomad, they're trying to facilitate that for themselves. You think Giants don't know that and aren't gonna be immediately set up to deal with that on the attack? I can't see a world in which Giants don't catch them out in that instance.
100%, yeah. And Giants have been prone to play Jackal in the past as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hysterics main that on the attack as well to try and suppress those roamers. If we look at the only time these guys have actually played in the APAC North League so far, it was on Coastline, as you said. It was that upset, the first loss that Giants got in APAC North as a whole back in stage 1. And you have a look at that, and Xavier just came out of the gates swinging, and let me double check this, but I'm pretty sure, no, Giants actually started on the defense. Interestingly, that said it was Coastline, so that's kind of more of an attacker-favored map. You could argue that Xavier started on the favored side, and that was what helped them keep that momentum. Xavier are historically quite a momentum-based team. Aggressive teams usually are, and I think that also affected Giants as well. Now, a bit of a reverse case at the moment because, of course, Giants have very much started on the favored side and more than kind of outdone themselves. A 5-0 means that the best that Xavier can look for is 1 attack round, and I don't even know if they're going to get it. I haven't seen much improvement round to round here from Xavier, and if we look at it, round 3 was flawless. That last round there was effectively flawless because it was a 1v5 where there were 2 consolation frags from Xavier. I don't know. Gio, I don't really see Xavier getting back into this. Yeah, if they go onto defense and they start playing aggressive, they might win 1 or 2 rounds, but
yeah,
I think Giants would be able to close it out. I don't think Xavier could win all the 3 bomb sites 2 times each. I just don't see that happening.
And even let's assume that you're going to Kitchen for the next site. That makes sense, right? Kitchen was the site that Xavier, I'd say their attack was the messiest on, because you had Hysterics all the way up in Piano. He used the Black Eye to his advantage. He threw a C4 out the window and caught one of the players of Xavier off. DCH then gets rid of the black eye. As you said at the time, it's a bit late for that point. But then you still had players all around the map. They didn't make any attempt to go in through garage, try and clear VIP. They had a player there or in and around that area of the map, as I mentioned. I think it was Ysera who was playing on the mirror, who was up in Whiskey for a lot of the game, pushed up towards coat check. That's how he secured the final kill for himself. And like, sure, yeah, you can put a Selma on the prep wall and get rid of the mirror window that's there, but if you can't move forward, what are you going to do about it? If you can't clear out the rest of the map, what are you going to do about it? And that's the painful part for Xavier, and that's the part that they'd have to make. You know, it's not complicated to turn around and say, oh, well, you know, they should clear. Okay, great. But it's easier said than done, and it's also such a flagrant issue that they left out last time that to completely fix that in this round, I think the likelihood of that is potentially questionable.
Yeah, well, moving on, it is Kitchen as you theorized. Of course, both bar and reading are locked, so it's either going to be Kitchen or Mining. Mining is actually where we're seeing Ysera, or rather Speakeasy, open up a lot of holes. These look down onto the bomb site, which are very good. Let's have a look. Medics, there you go. Thank you very much. So this means that if Xavier don't flush out this Mining train control, yeah, that one goes down looking into prep, where that mirror window is. Then, yeah, there's basically no way Xavier are going to be able to plant because Xavier or Giants still have that top floor control. So I think Xavier have no choice but to take map control now, especially because they actually 6-picked onto the Thermite. What is this spawn pick? Come on. Hysterics, don't do it to me. Oh. They 6-pick onto the Thermite from the Ace. I think that's because of Giants impact tricking last rounds, which really made Xavier struggle with breaching the kitchen wall from Bakery. The flip side of that is the Ace was what Xavier used to counter this mirror window. Now they don't have any long-range hard breach. So how are they going to take out this mirror window? Well, they can shoot the player behind it. That'll help, but they still haven't guaranteed that control for themselves.
And my first thought is, oh, well, you get rid of the smoke. That's a valuable pick because that late round denial that you want is no longer there. But Xavier have got to get to the late round in the first place for that to even matter all that much. But Onigiri does clear up with Hysterics as well. So maybe the rehost has given them a new lust for life, but maybe not after that kill from Luna. Diffuser now dropped and Xavier no longer have their hard breach.
Yeah, but this is such a good read here from Luna. He retakes the mirror window after Speakeasy died because, as I mentioned, there's no long-range hard breach. He sees the player coming around the corner. The pre-fire misses. Luna's got to peek it. No, Napier, what is that? There's a crossfire as well. Red Sun has no idea. Luna Metal gets a 3K. Onigiri finally shuts him down. And that leaves Giants' hopes all on Ysera to make this a flawless half. 1v1 now. A 1K. And Onigiri has got to close this.
Oh, what a total mess. And Giants have opened up so many of these soft walls so that they have avenues of ingress or at the very least lines of sight. Onigiri's been baited by the opening of the freezer wall, and that could give Ysera an opportunity to flank around. There's the mirror window that's been opened up. I suppose that's something at the very least, but he doesn't want to hang around too much in front of the kitchen wall, which is where Ysera had that direct line of sight through from coat check. He goes in for the plant anyway. Ysera's going to come in through freezer. He can't actually quite fit through the hole right now, and that means that the plant does go down. Now he's just waiting, getting rid of it. He knows he has time. He's getting the C4 prepared. Should he have to throw it through? Onigiri's is ready. He's got his own line of sight, but it doesn't work if you get C4 through it. And Giants have a flawless first half of this game.
The reads! Giants have everything on their side. There wasn't even any info on the bomb site. I don't think there was a Black Eye Valkyrie camera on site from Hysterics. Pretty sure that was just game sense from Ysera. Absolutely beautiful. A flawless half for the Singaporeans. What a way to come out of the gate strong against their arch nemesis of Xavier. The team that knows how to beat Giants are looking absolutely lost. It is on the back of some insane individual performances from Giants players, and it's not even the ones we would usually expect. Ysera and Luna, the two support players on this team, stepped up for all 5 kills that round. Luna, a fantastic read, retaking the mirror window in prep. Absolutely genius, and it worked like a charm. Ysera as well in that 1 versus 2 clutch, nailed it on the head. He's also been in so many opening engagements this game and stepping right up for the team. Now Xavier have to make a flawless run of their defenses, winning 3 different bomb sites twice each for even a hope of overtime. Giants have everything going for them right now.
Xavier are going to take a trip back in time to the beginning of the year where we saw the height of the Mute Mozzie meta. They want to be denying Giants as much information as possible because at the very least they can tell that Giants have been using it so much to their advantage, and their knowledge and their ability to read in these situations have been what have caught Xavier out so many times. Whether that works in this round remains to be seen, as Xavier don't have much wiggle room. This is their last chance.
I like that. Ysera, Claymore out in the fireplace window just to prevent anyone from jumping out, or at least punishing anyone that does. There's no info ops really on Xavier's side. No Valkyrie, which is unbanned, and we saw how great Giants leveraged it. Yes, there is the Mozzie, and yes, there is the Legion, somewhat info gatherers, but not nearly as strong as the Valkyrie, especially here on Cafe. Xavier are leaning into the shield meta a little bit, just with that 1 deployable shield from the Alibi here in Pixel. 2 ADSs to protect, but of course Thatcher's on the board. Those ADSs could just be EMP'd from the roof and the shield quickly dispatched with. There's also 6 explosives from Giants, plus the Selmas. Such a stark contrast. Ysera's actually repelled to the roof right now. EMP comes through. That's going to disable those 2 ADSs. A nade is going to fly through, and that takes out the shield. The only shield Xavier brought. Giants are just 5 steps ahead right now in terms of their technical expertise in Siege.
We're putting it, Onigiri had to scatter. He'll hide behind a Prisma that they have present in Backstore, but as you said, they only brought 1 shield. A lot of teams these days are placing another one in Backstore, maybe even 1 in the bathroom as well. So that's those hindrances that aren't really there for Xavier in this instance. Napew is still downstairs. He's holding on to the angle towards New Hatch, and he does have a C4, so it's common to see the Mozzie play down below. But I suspect the Giants will be too smart to make that mistake. Oh, maybe not? No, okay.
Napew got droned out downstairs. Does leave him a bit vulnerable, and punished. Hysterics, the dirty dog, prone outside. He takes off his head. And now, well, it's only a matter of time before Giants prepare themselves to execute. But since they've got this advantage, they know how Xavier likes to play from a deficit. They do the smart thing. They play aggressive off the back of it, but Giants are reading into it. They've got a decent amount of time left, but they're not rushing as of yet. Not getting too overzealous. DCH punishes Lunar Metal. Liz did manage to use his Selmas. I think that was a hole through the floor. Potentially the hatch. Must have been, and now, well, 4v4, execute, no doubt to comes through soon. It's got to. Only 25 seconds left.
Onigiri took a ton of damage as well. Speakeasy's holding on to the pixel angle where Red Sun is kind of flirting with the idea of moving in. There's a kill straight onto Speakeasy. That means Jordan has to pick up the diffuser. A combined kill there onto Scatman means that soon they should be able to just go in for the plant. Onigiri's going to be hunted down. Once again, pinched on, but actually Hysterics will be downed. Xavier narrowly take that round and keep themselves in by the skin of their teeth.
If I'm not wrong there, Onigiri actually got down, so the fact that Xavier won that was because DCH was still alive. And when you have a trade, well, actually, to be fair, even if DCH was dead, if Onigiri was just down, then defenders would have won anyway, but it was very close. And yes, it's 1 round for Xavier, but like you're saying, such a narrow margin. How much can the tie rely on that to then make a full rotation of 6 defenses? I just don't think it's going to happen. Onigiri stepping up massively. I think 3K, 4K on that round. And, well, Xavier, they found something to grab onto, but still got a lot of work to do.
It's great that they got around on the board. I'm super thrilled for them, and I'm glad that they're still in the game. But when you look at the way that they managed to get it and how narrow the margin was, it doesn't fill you with confidence that it's going to go the same way once again. I mean, especially when, despite the fact that Giants couldn't secure the final kill, when you look at the way that they were executing those last 2 kills particularly, I believe it was it Red Sun who was playing on default by the little mini bar in bar, and then you had Onigiri in the back store. They would jump 2 players in either side of those players to ensure that they came from 2 different directions and you couldn't deal with them. It was a proper pinch. They did that twice in a row. Now, it didn't work the second time. Onigiri got downed, as you mentioned, and then the remaining players of Giants could get killed. But it's that level of coordination that, yes, maybe it didn't work out in the way that they wanted to, but if they repeat that, it's going to work out eventually. And given the skill of the players on Giants, I wouldn't put it past them to make that happen soon. But there's a nice opening kill from Onigiri. That sets Xavier up for a good start.
It's early days, but what point do we start saying Xavier have got a shot here? Because I will say, I think they read into the situation really well last round. In that late 4 versus 4, they played super passive. We saw Giants only had 25 seconds left, and they were kind of expecting Xavier to get really aggressive, as Xavier are known for. But in that 4v4, Xavier knew all they've got to do is wait for the defenders to, or the attackers rather, to come to them. This is a jump out and a half. That is disgusting. No Claymore this time around. No punish at all. Onigiri has stepped it up, and now we're in a 5v2. This is such a defender-sided game we are witnessing right now. Jordan and Speakeasy against 5 players. It's definitely possible, but it's so unlikely.
They knew that everything was working against them. They hadn't about Onigiri maybe does. Speakeasy securing that kill, but Xavier still maintained the advantage. So this is still an uphill battle for Giants. I'm going to be opening up the floor here in bar, but there is no one directly down below. Napew is the only one on this middle floor, although he's jumped straight down the hatch to return to site. And that means that Giants, despite putting effort into this clear, will have to move down soon.
Yeah, this is very similar to what we saw last round from Xavier, albeit there's a lot more time left. Yes, Giants have less players, but Xavier, they know they're in the advantage, so they play passive. I think that's really smart from them. Instead of getting too aggressive here, they're just getting onto the bomb site. There's not really much manpower left for Giants. Yeah, there are 2 drones up, but they might be on flank watch. And, well, Xavier can basically try and evade these holes that are being made by Jordan upstairs. I don't think that those players will be too exposed by them. And times are going to tick away slowly. No VIP control as of yet. Oh, Scatman almost loses his life. He needs to not peek this, but he does. Tries to escape and loses his life. This 2 versus 5 is now suddenly a 2 versus 3, and there's 25 seconds for Giants to work with.
Well, can't get rid of the shield because the lifeline got eaten up, as far as I'm aware. Napew gets another kill, though. There's Speakeasy, who's been dispatched with, and Red Sun as well. Xavier keeping themselves in the game. And yeah, it's only 2 rounds so far, but it's still looking more optimistic than it did before.
Well, they've definitely broken the momentum, right? They've definitely switch things up, and it's no longer the Giants game. It's no longer just Xavier looking lost on their attack. It's Xavier playing the game that they love, and that is aggression. It is unpredictability, and it's definitely catching Giants off guard. This is Giants' kryptonite after all. While they might be good at dealing with aggressive teams, and they have been doing so for a very long time in Southeast Asia Pro League, Xavier are just a different breed. You know, the Thai teams have got something in their blood that just takes the fight to Giants every single time. We saw how hard pushed Giants were against Q-Confirm just, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? 8-7 on Theme Park, a nail-biter of a game that definitely stressed out everyone on Giants, and surely they're not going to let this reverse sweep happen. They need to start punishing this early aggression from Xavier, because last round, that was the key.
Particularly Onigiri. He seems to be the one who's gained a whole wave of confidence in this half. I almost said throwing caution to the wind. I don't think it's quite like that. I think he's just thinking, you know what? I'm not going to play to their tune anymore. I'm going to play to my tune. And it's worked out. He got caught out at some point in the last round, but he's still been doing pretty well over these last 2 rounds. Now, this is Xavier's turn to see if they can create a full cycle, or complete a full cycle, as I should say, as they head to reading. One of the problems Xavier had on the attack was their inability to thoroughly clear. Giant's going to be able to do something different.
How on earth can he see anything there? I don't think he can. He's just going to pre-fire if he maybe sees a slight pixel change color. Lesion, ever more potent now, the T5, with that 1.5 times scope. Giants looking to go for a top-down clear here, and Onigiri very aggressive on the stage. I like this adaptation from Giants, though. They've picked the IQ this time instead of the Ash. They've realized Xavier aren't really leaning into that util dump meta so much. There's not even a Malusi on the table, only 2 shields, much less than we saw from Giants, and instead, Giants are going to prioritize countering the information gathering. Surely they know that he's here. What is that? Finally the punish, though. Giants going to have to deal with having no speakeasy this round.
Onigiri very nearly got the second kill as well. At the very least, he knew that that was coming. Now these 2 players who are over in Cocktail are also going to know that it's coming. DCH moves out towards Lumber. And that's where Giants are headed, towards Cocktail. They want to take control. We spoke about it at the start of the game. They want to open up those floors and be able to provide the vertical pressure. That means they can clear out the site below. So those are going to be some adversaries that they are yet to face. And if they continue to play with the aggression that they've been showing off these last couple of rounds, then maybe Giants can find it's a harder fight than initially anticipated.
The info denial's good there. We saw Luna's drone getting muted out. Ooh, really vulnerable to C4s right here. That EMP goes out. Oh, second Selma misses, and another EMP goes out to get rid of that second mute jammer. Giants looking very keen to take this top floor control, but Xavier is still holding on. I saw one player just drop down through the hatch. Still one on the stairs, and, well, Giants are now droned out. They know this is clear. They can start to push on forward, but only 45 seconds in a 4 versus 4. Xavier still have a real shot here.
Still plenty of drones on the board, so that means Giants are going to be able to gather the information, assuming that they don't get hampered by the mute jammers that are still littering the site. See one present there in reading. That'll make it harder to open up that wall should Giants get to that point. But they have gained Cocktail control by now. You can see the players of Xavier are just surrounding the site, and Hysterix is hunting down this player who's here in train. There's a nade that's going to be thrown in. Jordan does take some damage, and he can't quite secure the next kill. It'll be DCH to be the next casualty, and Napew as well. Or not Napew as well. Hysterix is the next one. Luna goes in for the plant. There are the kills coming from Xavier.
Napew!
And a full cycle once again.
Atsuke with the pistol? Did you see that on the replay? He swings on through, takes out the player covering the planter, takes out the planter, and Xavier win on time. Giants really punished there for their late push. They had control of the top floor in a 4 versus 4 with 40 seconds remaining, and Xavier played in really smart positions. 1 player bot Brown, 1 player inside train, 2 players near the bomb site, but not quite inside it. They were playing in the reading hallway, and that meant that the vertical play from Jordan was not really able to punish those Xavier players on the bomb site. And when it came down to it, Giants, it just comes to a hammer and an anvil, a crash of waves onto the cliffs. And, well, it's going to take a lot more than that to start to erode the banks of Xavier right now, because they are looking really good, and they have started this comeback and taken the momentum firmly into their favor.
It's like you suddenly start to forget that it's on match point. It just... Remember that? Remember when we got there? Remember when it was a 6-0? Giants certainly do, and they're probably quite frustrated with themselves that they haven't been able to close it out yet. Xavier this time decided that they were going to 6-pick. One of the things you said in the last round was they're not leaning so much into the utility clear meta. They haven't even bought a Malusi. But this time, she was the 6-pick.
Yeah, I think that's a good decision, but fortunately for Giants, they've got the Ash anyway instead of that IQ, so they've still got util to clear. shouldn't be too much of a problem, in my opinion. Giants are just so good. Remember how they cleared Pixel last round? Just that EMP on the roof, followed by a nade. Once again, we have 6 explosives for Giants, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. I'm honestly more worried about the aggression from Xavier in the early to mid round, and the passiveness from Xavier in the late round, and how good they are at just refragging in the anchor positions. DCA shut down! Hysterics! That is disgusting. He finds 2 kills really early on. This could be the match point that Giants have been chasing.
Not holding back at all, and Red Sun holding onto the waist there should he come a-knocking. This is very aggressive positioning from Onigiri as well. He's ready for anyone should they jump down the hatch or just peek, but instead he's going to be moving out the way. He still holds on to the impacts that are in pocket, and there's the peek coming from Giants. He's still pretty aggressively positioned here. Should anyone be on the rappel, as someone just about is, he's ready to take them on. That's Speakeasy. But there's also Luna on the south side window as well. He could find himself getting caught out, but it'll be Luna who gets caught out instead. That means Onigiri doesn't have to worry so much. He tries the jump out, but he's punished for it. It didn't work quite out, and now Xavier have just 1 player remaining up against 4 from Giants. This is match point for Giants to once again assert their dominance. It's Red Sun. He's got the MPX in hand, and he's just waiting, holding onto this angle in Cigar should anyone come through. But he knows that either of the hatches could be used. He doesn't have a C4 as he decided to bring a shield, so he can't even attempt to throw one of those out. There are players from Giants sneaking in. He's got to push forward. He gets the first kill and retreats. Now he's looking at Skylight. He's checking the hatches that could also be other avenues of ingress. There's the second and the third. Can he secure the 4th that keeps Xavier in the game? It's just 1 more player. He's ready, but he breaks his gun away. And Ysera can take that shot and the kill. And Giants finally take the game.
A game that looked like it was going to be all said and done in the first 7 rounds, but Xavier bit back and they bit hard. Their aggression really stalled out Giants and made it so it was a very difficult task for them to get back in the game. Hysterics, of course, was the player to step up massively with an early 2K. Ysera to hold down the line at the end of it. A fantastic showing for Giants. They've come back into form. Maybe wasn't the greatest stage they could have asked for. They had some slip-ups, but they're back on top now. Overall, despite some bit of stress at the end there, overall a very convincing win for the Giants.
A bit of a messy game for Xavier, and one that they'll have to look back on and study a bit, but they should at least say thanks to Red Sun. He couldn't quite clutch it out, but it was very, very close indeed. But Analyst, I want to know what you have to think. Let's hear you break down this game.
I'm going to say thanks to Gio and Dev. Thank you very much. We are back.